can make sure. So I can make sure that I make the content. Please type them in chat. There are over 127 of you. So we're not going to unmute 128. So please feel free to type your questions in chat. And somewhere near the middle, we will have, oh, okay. Okay, thank you, Kathleen. That's great. Thank you so much. Somewhere in the middle, somewhere around 10:30 or so, depending on the where I am content-wise, we will take a very quick 5-minute break. In chat, you have a link to the handouts if you have not received them already. And Erica, can you show me the poll results? I minimized it so I could get my screen up, and now I can't see them. Just curious.
I would have to end the poll to, you know.
Oh,
I mean,
okay. Don't worry. Do it.
I'll share it to you in a second here. It's
Okay, that's
109
fine.
people's answered out of 129.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. That'll be great. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Okay, so you have mixed caseloads. I figured that. Good morning, everybody. My name is Barb Seferis. I hope you all had an awesome yesterday and were able to enjoy the eclipse. I live in Northeast Ohio in Lake County, and all I can say was it was amazing. So it was truly a once in a lifetime experience. How do you get sound? You've got to fix that on your laptop or computer. You have got to turn on audio. Make sure you have the audio on. And some people could not find the questions. That's all right. So our session today is provided by the Family Resource Network. We are Ohio's official hub for Charting the Life course, and we are so thankful for our grant funding from the Ohio Department of Developmental Disabilities, as well as the Ohio Department of Education and Workforce Development. So by their support, you can see that both systems are supporting their staff, the people receiving supports, and families to use Charting the Life course. Our website is listed on this page, frnohio.org. We hope you sign up. When you go to the website, there is a pop-up to sign up for announcements. We hope that you sign up. We offer probably 80 to 100 opportunities a year for you to learn more about Charting the Life course. And if you are a Facebook user, we hope that you like our Facebook page. We post announcements there, but we also share stories, how people are using Charting the Life course, in their work and in their
soup's coming, but you got to get the table, okay?
And I'm going to mute you. Please make sure you are muted. At the Family Resource Network of Ohio, our project manager is Tracy Manns. Our project manager coordinator is Erica Young. She is on the call. Yes, she's waving. She wants us to think she's at the beach. And then Celia Schlomer and I also contract with the Family Resource Network of Ohio. So we're glad to have you. A little bit about me, if you have not heard me before. I have worked in the IDD field for almost 50 years in the Cleveland, Ohio area. Thank you for the polls. I appreciate it. So we have 79% SSAs. Awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And you've heard, okay, so we've got over half who have not used any of the tools. Awesome. Thank you very much, everybody, for answering. That does help me. I retired from the Cuyahoga County Board. I have worked in a variety of schools, public, private, and parochial. I have worked in residential settings, employment settings, and day program. I was a licensed speech language pathologist, but I also worked as an SSA. And most importantly, I am the sibling. I had two younger brothers. My middle brother, Jim, had a acquired disability as a result of an accident in his 30s. My youngest brother, Nick, who was 4 years younger than me, was diagnosed with a developmental disability when he was 6 months old and I was 4. And we had home-based services. They were not public services. It was a private agency. It was way before any laws or rules about early intervention. You have handouts. Erica has put the link if you did not get them before. There are 7 handouts, and I will be referring to them. I will be showing you how and when to use them. And so it's not just here's a bunch of handouts, but I will actually go through them. So let's talk about, oh, okay, Erica's putting information in chat. So what am I talking about when I talk about charting the life course and person-centered thinking? During this session, it's 3 hours. I'll introduce you to the principles and the framework. I'll introduce you to some of the tools of charting the life course, especially the ones that we use the most in Ohio and that we share the most with families, professionals, and excuse me, and people with lived experience. We do provide information to people with lived experience. Charting the life course is integrated into the Project STIR leadership peer-to-peer training. And so we are able to share information through Project STIR, but also in other ways. And we'll talk about common language in charting the life course. So on the left, you see icons that represent the principles of charting the life course, and I'll go through all of those. On the right, you see that there is a national community of practice to support families, and Ohio is in that national community of practice. Why is that so important to mention? For me, it's important because we have the opportunity to learn what people are doing in about 25, 26 other states. And so we get to share what we do. And I don't know if anyone is on this call right now that is not from Ohio. If you are not from Ohio, we would love to know what state you are from. We have had people from actually all over the world attend our sessions. So we'd love to know if you're not from Ohio. Everyone is welcome, but it tickles us when we hear that someone is not from Ohio. We have a, oh gosh, Rhode Island. Awesome. Welcome, Rowan. Awesome. Very cool. We have a community of practice. Our next meeting is May 1st. If you sign up on frnohio.org, you'll get a notification and an opportunity to register. And a community of practice is just a group of people who are passionate about something. And we are passionate about supporting and empowering families. A community of practice makes a commitment to learn how to do it better and to share their learning on a regular basis. So we typically meet our community of practice. Oh my gosh, California. Hi, Valerie. It's early in California. Our community of practice meets quarterly. So we hope you'll sign up and join us. Our trajectory, which is one of the tools and one of the principles, is that you have a vision for what you want as well as for what you don't want. So our trajectory in Ohio for supporting and empowering people with disabilities and families is to use charting the life course, that people and families use it to discover what do they want, what's their good life, to plan, to problem solve, and to share their vision with the people who support them, both paid and unpaid. We want professionals to value this information, but also use the tools themselves to facilitate their conversations, to discover, to plan, to support and empower people. And we want everyone to understand this common language. So if someone says trajectory, everybody knows what a trajectory is. What we don't want, which is just as important to identify, is we don't want you to see this as, oh my gosh, here's more paperwork. Or that the information is not valued because, well, I have to fill out these forms and this isn't part of this. What I hope you'll see in this 3 hours is the principles and the tools will help you do your job. If you are a family member, the principles and the tools will help you prepare to share information with your team, regardless of your life stage of your loved one from birth through the end of life, regardless of their abilities. So if you would take a minute, a minute and type in chat what you're hoping to learn during this 3 hours. You have made a commitment to be here. What is it that you're hoping for? Okay, more tools for helping your folks, more tools to share with SSAs, efficiently and affect others. I love it, love efficient and effective. Better information, absolutely, Carrie. I think you will get much better information, at least that's been my experience. To support families, a refresher, integrating my own life experiences as a person with DD in your care. Oh, good. Yes. I hope you will see a way for you to organize information and share it with whoever's helping you. Better do your job, better serve your clients, ensure their plans are person-centered and meaningful. Help families with young children. Absolutely. We have seen the impact across the lifespan. Preparation to become an ambassador. Great, Megan. Serve people better, better understanding of the tools to help build positive relationships, gather information. Add the tools to your toolbox. Absolutely. Absolutely. Writing a plan that truly reflects the person, how to incorporate the philosophy with my families, support people in your program, improve person-centered approaches. Awesome. Oh, awesome. Okay. I think I can do that. Understand what charting the life course is. That's exactly what I'm going to talk about, is how to use these tools in your work to support and empower people. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Do not hesitate to continue to type in chat. And again, if you have any questions, please feel free to type in chat. Erica will monitor, and if there's a question she cannot understand or answer, she will unmute and let me know. Expanding on self-determination, I am so glad. I will talk about self-determination. Oh, you guys, these are awesome. Very, very nice. Thank you. I appreciate it. Very, very nice. And working through the conversation, the dialogue, and supporting your family members. Thank you so much. That's great. So our core concept in Charting the Life course is we want everyone in their families have the right to live, love, work, play, learn, and pursue their life aspirations in their community. Please notice it doesn't say all people with disabilities. It says all people and their families. And that's our why. Why do we do this? Because this is what we believe. Everybody has this right. We want everybody to have a good life. We want the person to have self-determination. So somebody said, I want to, support self-determination. Well, please remember that self-determination is a civil right. It is, the definition of self-determination is not having choices. The definition of self-determination is having control over decisions affecting your life. Whether you yourself make those decisions or whether you make those decisions with the support of people who know you and care about you. Even if someone has a guardian, they have the right, the civil right of self-determination. They have the right to participate in decisions. You see the second term, interdependence. I don't believe anybody is independent. None of us is independent. You all work. A lot of you work, not everybody. I don't know if everybody works, but many of you identified as an SSA, so you are working, which means you are earning money. You are not working because it's a great thing to do. You are working because you need the money to buy the things that you cannot do for yourself. We are all interdependent. And I think we do such a disservice to people when we say you need to be independent. You can't live you can't live on your own if you can't do X, Y, and Z. For families, we want them to be supported in ways that recognize their strengths and capacities, and we provide support to them so they can support their loved ones, because quite frankly, the system cannot replace the support that families provide. I love, especially with professionals, I love sharing the Rehab Act of 1973. It is the first time that disability is recognized in federal law as being a natural part of the human experience. And look at the rights of people. This is 51 years ago. We are still not implementing this the way it was intended. But we want people to have self-determination. We want people to contribute to society, to have meaningful careers, and to be included and integrated in all aspects of American society. So as you are working with people, if you are a family member, you probably hear these buzzwords: charting the life course, person-centered thinking, Medicaid, and Ohio rules. All of them have similar themes. First of all of them say we need to support people. We need to take care of them. We need to assist them. All of them say that we need to empower people. In other words, give the power to the person and the family. And the way you can do that is sharing the tools and resources with people, with families. Lots of times people will say, oh, the families can't, it's too hard. People with lived experience don't understand. I will tell you, almost 50 years of working with people, with families, they understand, they get it quickly. And just earlier in March, Erica and Tracy, our project manager, and I had the opportunity to spend a day with 80 people from People First. And I am telling you, they got it quickly. So please, we want to give power and tools and resources to people. We want people to have a valued role in their community. And we want people to have a life they value. And that is the definition of person-centered. Not that the person is in the center, but the person has a life they value and they have control over decisions affecting their life. If you look at your role, regardless whether you are in education, in DD, I was a licensed speech language pathologist. Before I worked with anybody, I had to discover or assess what is their concern, what do they want to do, not their deficits, but what do they want to be able to do? And so I had people tell me, I want to be able to talk at work. I want people to understand me. I want to speak at church. That was their vision. And then it was my role as a speech pathologist to say, oh, this is how I can support you in that vision. Everybody has to develop a plan. You have to implement it, review it, find resources, authorize. Even as a speech pathologist, I had to look for what kind of technology may be supportive, what funding will be able to purchase that technology, problem solve, and of course, be able to facilitate and communicate as a team. So charting the life course is about having different conversations. It's not a checklist. You will not see a checklist. So you have assessment tools that you have to complete as part of your job. Charting the life course will help you have those conversations to get meaningful information to fill out your paperwork. It's a different way of thinking because our main focus is everyone has the right to live, love, work, play, learn, and pursue their life aspirations in their community. We encourage high expectations, so we never say, no, you can't, unless what they're asking for is illegal or unethical. So a couple of examples. I worked with a team where this gentleman wanted to be a pilot, and everybody said, you can't be a pilot. You don't know how to read. You never took math, blah, 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 blah. And when I asked him, why do you want to be a pilot? What do you like about being a pilot? He shared that he had lived in a state institution and had just recently moved out into a group home. And he shared that his father, he remembers when he was a small child, his father was a pilot, and he would go to the airport and wave when his father left. His father did not fly commercial jets, but smaller planes, cargo planes. And so what did his awesome job coach do? He said, there's a local airport. Let's go see. Let's go see if they have jobs. He got a job working at the airport. He doing maintenance, but he got to the point, I don't know what else happened, but the last I heard, he was actually driving the cart out to unload the planes. Another person told me he wanted to be the manager at a day program. And everybody said, you can't be a manager. You never went to college, blah, 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 blah. And again, so what does that mean? What do you like about being the manager? And people said he wants to boss people around. He wants an office. Stop. Why do you want to be the manager? And what he said was, I want to wear a suit and I want to carry a briefcase. And we said, do you have a suit? No. Well, you got to earn some money to buy that suit if that's important to you. And so finding out what people mean, not what we think. And then how do you know what you want to do if you've never tried stuff? So we always say people need a lot of different experiences. Very easily, quickly, think about yourself. Have you ever had sushi? How do you know if you like sushi if you've never had it? So how do people know what kind of job they want if they've never had experiences or opportunities beyond the 4 F's? Food, filth, flowers, factory. You know, how do we know what they want? How do they know what they want? So this isn't just about the tools, and it's not a program. And please, 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 there are no yes buts. Yes, but I work with people who don't talk. Yes, but I work with people who have dual diagnoses. Charting the life course is for anyone, regardless of age or ability, because we get the information from the person, from their words and their actions, and we talk to the people who know them the best. That is being person-centered. So there are no exclusions. As a speech language pathologist, I will tell you, in 45 years of having a license, I never met anyone who did not communicate what they like, what they don't like, what they want, what they don't want. And I never met a person who didn't have someone in their life who could tell us that. So Don't say, I can't use this because I work with babies. I can't use this because I work with people who don't use words. You can use it. Being person-centered means looking at those words, actions, and also talking to people who know them the best. So there are 8 principles. Again, it's for everybody across the lifespan, across abilities. We recognize the importance of family systems and cycles, and that what happens in a family affects everybody. And if there's a change in the family, it may change the supports that that family needs. So think about a sibling that leaves to go to college. Think about the illness or death of a parent or a caregiver. Life stages, we all go through life stages. You see the life stages and icons from a baby to aging. And it's important to have a vision of what a good life is across that lifespan. And we'll talk about a vision. It is not a goal like we have typically thought of in our professional jargon, but what do you want life to look like? We want everybody to have life outcomes, the kind of life they want, and also have a variety of experiences so they can make informed decisions. We'll talk about 6 life domains that are on the Ohio ISP, how we look at needs and supports in 3 buckets, and looking at integrated supports that we not only look for how can the system help, but 5 different areas, and that people and families should be included at all levels of policy and systems change and development. So people with lived experience should be on the board. People with lived experience and families should be on all your committees so they can bring that perspective and that vision. One of our principles is all people live in the context of family, and family is defined by the person. It could be biological, it could be chosen. Think about your family. Do any of you, I grew up in a Greek American culture. I call people family. They are not related to me. There is no blood relation. But I use terms of respect. I call them aunt, well, in English, I'm trying to translate. They don't quite translate, but, you know, aunt or uncle or other terms of familial relationships, the relationship, not necessarily the title. And please don't think that family has to live close to people. I was sharing information with a group of families in March, and one mother said, Barb, my adult children all live out of state. And then my son lives with us. And I said, okay. And she said they can't do anything, even though my daughter, who lives in Montana, is probably the closest one to her brother and would probably do, you know, help him. And I said, have you heard of Zoom? Have you heard of Amazon.com? What about Walmart.com? And she goes, oh my gosh. I said, your daughter in Montana can be part of meetings. She can even be included in medical appointments if that's a support that she wants to be part of. I said, if he needs stuff, I have a family member that I don't have permission to share, but one sibling lives in Ohio, one does not. And I will tell you, the one out of Ohio has learned how to use Zoom, is in all meetings, medical appointments, and if her loved one says I need, she is on Amazon and Prime gets delivered the next day. So, you know, there are no reasons right now in this world to judge people and identify they can't do something because they live out of town. Please also do not judge people's participation and commitment to their loved one by their attendance at any of our meetings. First of all, SSAs, there is nothing in rule that says you have to have an ISP meeting. The rule says the ISP has to be reviewed annually. It doesn't say you have to have a meeting. And I don't know how to tell you this as a family member, but families don't like meetings. They do not find joy in our ISP meetings or our EP meetings, because typically those meetings talk about deficits and needs. And that is the last thing we need to hear about our loved ones. We already know. And I'll share in, to call people, yes, to use those titles of respect. I will tell you, I sat in an ISP meeting with my brother. I attended all his meetings, and they started the meeting by telling me he had cerebral palsy. Are you kidding me? He had a power chair that cost more than my minivan. I just looked at him and went, oh my God, wait till I tell mom. Why do we say things that are so inappropriate, So anyway, don't judge people by their attendances at meetings. We do not mean that we don't say family versus person. And we know that families are often disengaged because they're told your adult is 18, you have no say in anything. Well, I just want to ask you how many of you live with an adult, and what you would think if they came home and said, I don't need to tell you anything. I don't need to talk to you because I'm 18 and I don't need to tell you anything. We look at a holistic approach. It is a family. It is a unit. So we respect the perspective of the person as well as family. And we have tools that support people to contribute. Please, I'm a sibling. We need to remember, I don't know how to say your name. You don't have to have a big meeting. You can have a phone call. You can say, I want this changed. You can say, I want to meet with you and you, but I don't want a big meeting. And I think that's what I find with people with lived experiences. They don't realize that they can ask for a phone call, a Zoom, a meeting, anytime they want, and they don't have to have that big meeting. I just talked to a couple of self-advocates who said, I want my direct support professional in the meeting, and they can never attend the ISP meeting. I said, all you have to do is tell your SSA you want a meeting with your direct staff and the SSA and you, because you want to update your plan. Your DSP knows you the best, and you want their input. You don't have to wait for a big meeting. So we have to also look at the role of siblings. Siblings often get a role that they may not have asked for. And just, know that we need to include siblings if they want to be included. We need to tell people you can have your brother or sister be part of this conversation or meeting anytime you want. Yes, ISP meetings are very negative. Thank you, Gina, for sharing that. I want to just let you know there is a national sibling leadership network. It is a national nonprofit. They have a closed Facebook group called SibNet. If you know adults who are supporting their brothers and sisters with any disability, it doesn't matter, they can join this closed Facebook group. It is very supportive. There are about 5,000 SIBs from all over the world. And just FYI, Ohio also has a nonprofit called Ohio SIBs. And they have a website and offers some information sessions for siblings. So please share. The real shame about the role of siblings is that we are not recognized as family members in the Family Medical Leave Act. So siblings, you cannot take FMLA to take care of any sibling. If your brother or sister has a severe medical issue and you want to take off time to take care of them, you are not covered under FMLA. It is up to each employer. If you are your brother or sister's guardian, you are covered under FMLA. But I don't know about any other siblings, but I was taught by my mother that my brothers were my family. So I think it's funny that I'm not recognized as family. In Charting the Life course, we talk about reciprocity, that people give and they receive in a family. And we talk about caring about and caring for. Gina, I hope you join the Facebook page if you're not part of it. It is so supportive. People feel comfortable typing and sharing, and people will support each other. You know, none of us knows what anybody else is going through, but family members will often say, oh yeah, I've been through that. And let me tell you what we did. So caring about, you see the icon, it's a heart. So those are the emotional carings, you know, the people who show us affection, the people who know our stories, and also the people that we show affection to. And then the caring for is a shield, and sometimes it's a person with a roof over their head. Those are the physical needs, providing that day-to-day care, helping financially, going to medical appointments, you know, advocating, helping people be part of activities and groups. Remember, in Charting the Life course, we recognize that people with lived experience, with disabilities, care about people and care for people, as well as people care about and for them. There is reciprocity. We talked about the 3 buckets of needs and supports. So we all have needs when we're planning in our life. You know, it's Erica wants us to think it's summer, but the picture behind her is, you know, the beach. So how many of us are thinking about vacation? Think about any need that we have. We want to plan a vacation. So we have 3 buckets of needs. We want information. Where do I want to go? What do I want to do there? And then the kind of mustardy colored bucket, the goods and services. So am I going to fly? Am I going to drive? Am I going to take the train? Am I going to stay at a hotel, at an Airbnb, camp? The goods and services that will help you. Where are we going to eat? And then connecting and networking, talking to others. Who's gone here? What did you like? Where should I go? Oh, good. I'm so glad, Callie. So glad. You didn't know those groups existed. Absolutely. And I will tell you, for decades, because I was part of developing Ohio SIBS as a nonprofit, as well as the Sibling Leadership Network, and served on both boards for quite a while. But also, as professionals, how do we fill these buckets? When we talk to people, when we support people and families, how are we giving them information? Are we telling them what might be helpful, the goods and services, not just from us, but what's in the community, what's available for everybody? And are we helping them connect with others? So I shared SibNet. There are lots of Facebook groups for individual disabilities and families, but also the Department of Developmental Disabilities on their website, which is on the slide, has a tab for families and for people with lived experience, and they can connect with each other. There are several closed Facebook groups where families can talk with each other. So let's talk about the power of words. The words that we use convey our values and beliefs. So think about what words we use when we talk about people. Are we talking about their deficits? Like the team who told Nick when he was in his 40s that he had cerebral palsy? What a shock. Oh my. Or do we talk about their qualities? Do we talk about them being needy, or that they are contributing members of their community? And do we talk about how they aren't independent, or how they are interdependent? So think about the words that we use. Think about the words in your plans. One of the most common tools is the Charting the Life course portfolio. And I'm going to go, there are 3 separate tools on the portfolio. They all do not have to be completed, but we sent you the portfolio so you have them. You have it. But each one of these can be completed separately. The 1-page person-centered description is on the front of the portfolio, and we use this to talk about the person, the human being, not their disabilities, but who they are as a person. This is not the same as the intro page on the Ohio ISP. It is different. So there are 3 sections. Excuse me, let me just go back. There are 2 templates. You don't even have to use the template. I'll show you examples. On the left, there are 3 sections. On the right, there are 4 sections. That 4th section on the top right is for a photo. Why? Because we believe that when you include a photo, you are really showing who the person is, not just words, but who are they? There are 3 sections. I'll go through each one. You don't have to use the template. In fact, the ones that I love the best are ones that are done as Word documents with a photo and graphics. The first section is like an admire. And this is not strengths. This is like an admire. These are qualities. So what qualities does the person have? What do people like and admire about them? Please know that when I ask people with lived experience, they have a hard time identifying their qualities. And that's because we don't really tell them. So I am going to share with you a whole list of qualities and ask you in chat, type 1 or 2 of your own qualities. What do people like about you? Here's a whole bunch of them. The qualities are what's inside of you, not what you do. So a lot of times people with lived experience will tell me, well, I'm in Special Olympics. Well, that's what you do. But who are you? Why are you in Special Olympics? Is it because you're athletic? Is it because you're competitive? Is it because you just want to be around people? You're social. And helping people identify their qualities. So please don't think the conversation ends with, I asked them their qualities and they told me that they're in Special Olympics or that they have a job. That's what they do. And it's our job to clarify and have a further conversation. I love your qualities. Good listener, organized, friendly, loyal, dependable. And sometimes you may have to tell them, I think you are whatever, and tell them their qualities. And it's okay. We are teaching people different language, a different perspective of who they are. Love it, love it, love it. Thank you so much for sharing. Remember those qualities. The second section is what's important to you. And this is not like some preferences. These are things that are so important to you that if they were missing in your life, it would impact the quality of your life. So I like Diet Pop. I prefer Diet Coke over Diet Pepsi. And I really like Diet Dr. Pepper. But they are not important to me. If I don't have Diet Dr. Pepper or Diet Coke, my day is not going to be ruined. But if I don't have my coffee that I make, not coffee from Starbucks, it will be a bad day. My coffee is so important to me that when I travel, I pack a little 4-cup coffee maker with my own coffee. It is important to me. There are 8 categories of important to, and I'm going to go through them. A little bit about important to versus important for. If you are an SSA, you know that you have to identify important to and important for. Those terms have been in Medicaid guidance for over 15 years, at least. It was in the 2004 first rule on SSA. Important too is what the person tells us with their words and actions. Important four is what other people say. The doctor, the family, the therapist, the counselor, the community, perhaps law enforcement. And we don't talk about important four when developing a one page. Why? Because that's what other people say. So remember, important two is what the person tells us with their words and actions. Important four is what others say. That is the definition. I don't know if that is the practice, but I'm giving you the definition. I know that there are some people on the call that I worked with previously, and you know that I am all about go back to the rule, go back to the law, go back to the language, go back to the definitions, don't make it up yourself. So I prefer to use the language that is used and the meaning that is used, not the interpretation. When we think about, person-centered is also that people have a valued role in their community, whatever their community is. And that means sharing their gifts. So the gifts of your head, your heart, your hands. Think about, as you get to know people, what are their gifts of their head? What do they know? What are the gifts of their heart? They're kind, they're polite, they're helpful. And the gifts of their hands, they're artistic, they're creative. One woman I know volunteers with her church on a mission trip. And a couple of years ago, I was having breakfast with her at a conference, and I said, did you go on your mission trip yet this year? And she said, no, I go in a month. And I said, oh, cool. I said, I've never been on a mission trip. What do you do? And she said, oh, Barb, I put up walls. I said, what? She said, I put up walls. She goes to Nicaragua, and she said, people make houses out of cardboard boxes, and we go down and we actually make a house. We put up walls. I said, you're a builder. She said, no, I put up walls. I said, what else do you do? She said, I paint. I said, what do you paint? She said, Barb, the walls. I said, oh, you're a painter. And she goes, no, I paint the walls. I'm like, okay. What else do you do? She said, well, sometimes there's little kids, and I'll take them aside when we use equipment to keep them out of the way so that they're safe. And I said, what do you do with them? And she said, oh, I'll tell them stories. Sometimes I tell them children's stories. Sometimes I tell them stories from the Bible. I said, you're a storyteller. She said, no, I tell stories. Okay. What else do you do? She said, oh, Barb. She pulls up her smartphone, she swipes, and she said, look, I made these centerpieces for a pancake breakfast at church. And she said, it's very symbolic. And she told me, and they were beautiful. I said, those are gorgeous. You're an artist. She said, no, I made the centerpieces. Oh, okay. And I said, what else do you do? And she said, oh, Barb, I'm excited. I always like to take toys to the kids because they don't have toys, Barb. And I said, oh, that's cool. I said, does the church give you money to buy toys? She said, no, I save my money all year. My sister helps me develop a budget, and I buy toys and take them to the kids. I said, you're a philanthropist. She said, what the blank is a philanthropist? And I said, it's a person who uses their money to help people. Now, do you see a difference in my language and her language? She told me what she did. I paint, I build, I put walls up, I tell stories, I made a centerpiece, I buy toys. I identified valued roles. You're a builder, you're a painter, you're a storyteller, you're an artist, you're a philanthropist. We've got to start helping people identify their valued roles. And have opportunities to share those gifts. So think about the word community. Oh, have we overused this term? Community outings, community employment, community living. You know, I'm going to ask you, where else would you work? Community employment. Why do we even say that? Community living. Where else would you live? In a tree? I don't understand. Community outings. How many of you go on outings? Really? I don't. I hang out with friends. I do not call up my friends on Thursday or Friday and say, I have a Jeep. I can take 3 friends with me. Who wants to go on an outing with me? They would probably look at me and go, what is wrong with you, girl? So community is not a place we visit, and it's not a program. It's where we belong. Sociologists call it our third place. Our first place is our home. Our second place is where we spend our day, work, volunteer, school. Our third place is where we go on a regular basis, and we are missed if we don't show up. So book clubs, sports events, your kids' games, your kids' school events, church, the gym, the neighborhood bar. So important too, from the learning community for person-centered practices, is what people tell us with their words and actions. It's what helps people feel satisfied, comforted, content, fulfilled, and happy. It's detailed. So don't say friends and family, because you don't like your family, everyone in your family the same. Who's really important to you? So I want you to think about those 8 areas. The people, status and control. People with lived experience tell me what gives them status and control is having their own money, having a key to their own home, having a job, having technology, things to do and places to go. What we typically see on plans is McDonald's, Walmart, and bowling. And I don't know about you, but going to Walmart is not important to me. It does not make me happy or content. So why do we think that? Rituals and routines, my coffee, we all have rituals. What is your ritual that you need to do? Do you FaceTime with somebody every week or every day? What gives you purpose and meaning? When I talk to advocates with lived experience, it's helping others, and culture and identity, not just pronouns, but I'm also a sibling, and I do identify as a sibling. I am Greek American. I am in that life stage called aging. I am a person-centered thinking mentor trainer. I am a Charting the Life course ambassadors. All of those are communities that I am part of, as well as my faith-based community, my cultural community. So what's important to you? Type in chat. And it's so enough detail so I know it when I see it. Okay, not being rushed in the morning. Yes. Hot coffee right out of the shower. Oh, awesome. Spending time with your kids, exploring the world. Family, bills being paid, gym, out to eat, your 3 Yorkies. I love it. Netflix. I love it. I hate being rushed. Kids in quality time, taking a few minutes, walking the dog, processing my thoughts, family time, knowing my day was like. Awesome. Please, everybody mute. Okay, please mute. Thank you. Coffee in the morning, experiences, making my coworkers smile, quality time, listening to gospel music. Yeah, please don't say music. Please identify what music. If we're talking to people and they say music is important to me, I'm going to ask, what music? How do you listen to it? Friday night dinners with girlfriends. Yes, I was working with one woman and she said, my family. And I said, what about your family? And she said, I like quiet time with mom and dad and nobody else. I'm like, that's what you write down. I like to play with my nephews. That's what you write down. Oh, planning your honeymoon. Oh, nice. My car alone time for prayer. Awesome, Lisa. I know. The car, yeah, the car is a wonderful place. Watching my daughter play at the park. Awesome. Thank you. Now, this is what you need to elicit from people when you are filling out that OISP and identifying what is important to them. Please know, and I don't know what the process, the procedure is, but people may not identify something important to or for them in each of the domains. I don't. And so it is not, please know that we are not forcing people to identify. You know, we're asking them, what's important to you? And they may say, I can't think of anything right now. And if you are somebody that feels you have to fill out a form and put something in every box, then you're right. They didn't have anything to share. And maybe they will in the future. Please, when we write the ISP, we are not testing people and families. This is not a test. You do not have to fill out every single box because you probably could not identify something important to you in every single domain. So just know that. We don't want to test people. You see a note in chat, we're going to have a breakout room soon, so get ready. The third section on the person-centered description, how to best support me. This is not people's deficits. They can't follow multi-step directions. This is what other people need to do. So I love the first one. It was shared by a woman who wrote her one page for her employer. When teaching me something new, tell me, show me, watch me, and then tell me how I did. Follow the behavior support guidelines. Don't tell me what to do. Give me two choices. Remind me to wear headphones in a noisy place. Don't talk to me like a child. So this is a to-do list for others, not a deficit list. So you're going to go in breakout rooms. We're putting you in groups of 4 for about 5 minutes. That's all you need. Introduce who you are, your name, your county, maybe what you do. Identify what coworkers or you like about yourself. What's important to you at work? I'll share a couple things. For those of you that worked with me, you knew that I got into the office early. I use that first, I like to have my first 15, 30 minutes to answer emails, answer voicemails, make my to-do list, get myself organized for the day. How can others support me? Be on time. I'm a real stickler for people being on time. Be on time. Let me know if you're going to be late. And before, if I'm working or I answer the phone, ask me if it's a good time to talk. So we're going to put you in breakout rooms. You will get an invite. Accept it. 4 people. You don't need more than 30 seconds to introduce yourself. We'll give you 5 minutes. And I hope you get to meet some new people. Thanks, Erica.
All right, I just got out the invite, guys. So you should be receiving something. So check your Zoom, please.
When you get the invite, go join the room. Okay, we've got 30 seconds left. Whoops. Okay, I think we're all back now, so thank you. We had some glitches, sorry about that, but I hope that you got to meet a few people and introduce yourself, getting used to using this frame. So let's talk about that one page. Why would you use it? And please make sure you're all muted. Why would you use it? What's the purpose? There always has to be a reason. You don't just write a one page to write a one page. There's got to be a purpose. I'm writing it because someone is going maybe to a new place, a new environment, with new people. Always think about who's going to read it. And people can have more than one page. So for example, if someone is going to hire a new provider, they can have a one page for that. If they go to a doctor's appointment, they can have a one page for that. If they are a job seeker, they can have a one page for that, because the information would be different based on who's going to read it and what those people need to know. So this is my brother Nick's one page. It is not fancy. You see, there is no template. It is a Word doc, and I'm okay with it. Okay. It doesn't have to be beautiful, but it has to be functional and read. So this is just a global one. You notice it doesn't say Nick Safaris, because he liked to be called Nick the Greek. Under great things about him, you see the first thing listed is ornery. My 90-some-year-old mother would always say your brother was ornery. You would not write that if this was a one page for a job seeker. You would not write that they are ornery. You would write they are punctual, they're eager to learn, they're whatever, okay? Important too, you see that I've covered relationships, places to go, status and control, privacy, culture and identity. Under how to best support me, it's in quotes. Why is it in quotes? Because he said them. Please don't use the pronoun I unless the person said it. Otherwise, you are committing libel. People supporting Nick could read this and they would know exactly what to do. One page. Why is it one page? Because everybody will read one page. So here's a one page on the left for Maxwell at 3 months, when mom was going back to work and she was going to leave him with a daycare provider, and oh, this is what they need to know. On the right, this is Max as a toddler. Now it's a little different because Max is different. There are different things that are important. There are different ways to support him. And you see that mom broke it down to how to support me to sleep, to eat, other ways. You see, you have the PowerPoints. I'm not going to read it to you because everybody's will be different. This is Liam's. It's only for medical appointments. A lot of families find that if their loved one goes to a lot of doctor's appointments or is hospitalized, having one for medical appointments or hospitalizations is very important. Here's one for Tyler. You can guess how to start conversation with Tyler. You don't even have to read it. And that's the beauty. This is a great way to introduce somebody. People who write their own one pages have told me, I don't have to think. It's right there. I wrote it down. I can look at it. This is Elizabeth Cates. She was told, your one page is hard to read. The font is hard to read. The colors make it hard to read. And her response was, it's mine. This is the way I want it. Talk about self-determination. Here's one for Sophia, who was I believe she was a professor, and had some medical issues and was in rehab. So what's important to her during recovery? Not having scary hospital hair, having time to think about things, how to support her, make sure she has her cell phone, her call light, the hospital phone, the TV remote. This is Ruth's, and written for people who would come in and provide care. I love it. It's important to Ruth to have a little pour before bed, which is rum and tea. Love it, love it, love it. One page. At the beginning of COVID, we all learned how important it was to have a one page for hospitalization. So again, this is written if someone is in the hospital. I tell people, I tell families and providers, ask that it be posted above the bed, put it in a plastic sheet protector, tape it above the bed. Why? Because everybody will read it. Don't give it to the nurse and ask them to put it in the file. Nobody will see it. So, like and admire is probably going to be the same. Important too, though, is going to be what do they need in the hospital? You saw on Sophia's that she wanted to have her cell phone in her lap, maybe who to call, maybe items that they want to have with them that are comfort items, or maybe to leave the TV on because they can't handle the remote. How to best support them, how to position them, what to do if they're anxious, the best way to give them medication. For everybody, it's going to be different. How they express pain. So again, this is Nick's. It is for hospitalization. So chatting with me every day to talk over decisions. Tell me who you are and what you're doing, and I want to see the priest. How to best support me. Nick used a laptop with voice output. When he was in the hospital, he couldn't access it. So ask me yes, no questions. I'll nod or move my eyebrows. How to put him in bed. The fact that he can't feel pain on his right side. Why is that important to identify? What's the first thing anybody walking into a hospital room asks the patient? What's your pain level, 0 to 10? Okay, how to give him pills. So again, individualized. Here's another one. Again, these are just examples. How to support Sam. Distract him by talking about feeding birds or growing plants when you're dealing with therapies. It's easier for him to swallow pills and chocolate pudding or chocolate ice cream. For Martin, make sure his phone is charged and accessible. Help him call mom. If he's upset, ask him if he wants to talk to Mario. Ask him, don't order. Tell him what's going to happen. For Jim, I'm a smoker. I may need a nicotine patch. And you see the pronoun I, because he wrote this. Be honest with me. Tell me jokes and make me laugh. If I get down in the dumps, remind me of all the cool things I've done. So our project manager, Tracy, her daughter, Tara, is a nurse and works in the unit where people come from emergency. One day, and she is a twin, her brother is on the spectrum. One day, this woman came up to her floor. She had fallen. She had knocked out some teeth. She was bloody. Her caregiver was with her, the staff from the provider agency. The family was coming in. They lived a couple of hours away. She had not been given pain meds, and she was not cleaned up and had no clothing on. Her daughter called her and said, I know you have something. And Tracy emailed her a one-page template, walked her through it, and Tara went back in and talked to the caregiver. and said, what do people like about her? And talk to the patient, because just because the patient did not use words, Tara still included her in the conversation. Got a lot of information, found out why she's not wearing any clothes because the gown was causing her discomfort. Why was she in a zip-up bed? Because when she's in a bed, she knew she was in the hospital, and that got her anxious. She was anxious. So what happened? She said, well, what does she sleep in if she doesn't sleep in a bed? She sleeps in a recliner. We'll get a recliner. What does she usually wear if the hospital gown bothers her? She usually wears sweats. Okay, we'll get scrubs. And the caregiver had brought his sweatshirt, so they gave her the sweatshirt. Got her cleaned up. How does she express pain? So we know, she hadn't been given pain meds because she couldn't answer the question, what's your pain level, 0 to 10? So what do you think her pain level is? Let's get her some meds. They taped it above the bed. The nursing staff felt they could give better care because they knew what to look for. They knew why she was in the recliner. They knew to make sure she had on a sweatshirt. The doctors the next day, coming on rounds, said, my gosh, this information is so helpful. The other stuff we need is in the records, but this is who the person is. This is telling us how to support her. The provider agency, I don't think it's on the next slide, but the provider agency said, oh my goodness, can we use this with everybody? Can we develop one for everybody? Because when they get sent to the hospital, this would be good to have. I will tell you that several providers, residential and day program, have written one-page descriptions related to hospitalization and have stapled it to the emergency medical form so that if someone is transported, they get not only the emergency medical form, but the one page related to hospitalization. So why do we write one-page descriptions? Well, they could be written as part of the plan. They could be written anytime there's a transition. Somebody goes from one classroom to another, from one day program to another, for healthcare appointments. Whenever there's a new person in their life, a new setting or environment, a new experience. One sibling, a sister, for her teenage brother, 17, 18, I forget how old, was flying for the first time to visit their father out of state. He is on the spectrum, and she wrote a one-page for the flight attendants, so they would know how to support her brother on the plane. It could be some providers, day and residential, write a one-page for everybody in the group or in the home, and that's the subfolder. So if someone is subbing, they can look through, they see a photo, they know who the person is. I used to sub residential and in the classrooms. Oh my gosh, they would give you like not even 5 minutes. Hey, we're glad you're here. Here are the people you're going to be watching. And I'd be like, oh my gosh, who are they again? But the photo is there, it's in the folder. One dad developed a one-page, dad and mom, for their 3-year-old who had just been diagnosed on the spectrum, and they were going to go to a family reunion. And they didn't want people to be afraid to interact with their son. So they wrote a one-page and sent it to the family. If I throw the ball, it means I want to play catch. You can talk to me about Barney, and I love Thomas the Tank and something else. And so the family could engage in conversation. A lot of people have written it if they're a job seeker. When they go on an interview, it's part of their resume. Here's a little bit about me. Staff, SSAs have written them and given them to the people on their caseload. Here's a little bit about me. And teams have written them together on each other. So the one page, what we want to see is that it is human-centric. It's about the person. Who is this human being? What are their qualities? What do we need to know to support them? And it has to be developed for a purpose. So people can have several, okay, for different reasons. It doesn't have demographic information, so usually it doesn't have the age. It doesn't have the diagnosis. Instead, it talks about how to support the person. And it's not a list of services. So, quick poll. How can a one-page person-centered description help? And you can pick all that apply, and we'll give Erica a second to get the poll up. How can you use a one page?
Oh, sorry. Give me 1 second. I'm having technical issues here.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Coming up. All right, it's launched, guys. So take a look at the poll, please.
I love it. Love it, love it, love it. You guys are awesome. So the correct answer is all of the above. All of those. It empowers the person. I will tell you that a lot of people have said, people have never used these words to talk about me. I never thought people realized this about me. People have used it to interview providers. Here's a little bit about me. And employers, providers, teachers, anybody who helps. One mom wrote it for her son was going to start attending a youth group at church. And she wrote it specifically for that. I will tell you that sometimes parents want to put everything about their child. The mother who did it for her son going to a youth group wrote all of his doctor's names, all of his diagnoses, all of his medications. I said, is the youth group going to take him to doctor's appointments? She said, no, I am. I said, then why do you list the doctors? She listed all the medications. I said, are they going to give him meds? She goes, of course not. They can't pass meds. I said, then why are you listing the medications? I said, what do they need to know? Will he fall asleep? What do they need to do if something happens? What do they need to look for? And she went, oh my God, if he's having a reaction to his medication, I'm not going to send him. And I said, okay, take all that stuff out. They don't need to know all that. They need to know, why are you sending him to the youth group? And she goes, I want him to be around other people his age. He's a teenager. I said, how can the youth worker engage him? And she goes, oh, don't ask him, do you want to go play basketball? I said, what do they need to do? She goes, they need to say something like, come with me, let's go see what they're doing. I said, you need to write that down because that's how they're going to be successful. So you might have to help people figure out, what do those people need to know? Thank you all for answering the poll. One more thing. Now I want you to think about that one page. How can you use the one page in the next month? And I want you to be specific. I'm working with someone who's going to be interviewing a provider. I know someone's going to respite. I'm working with a job seeker. So maybe talking to their job coach about developing a one page. I want you to be very, very specific. One SSA was working with a young woman who had been separated from her family, extended family, And this young woman wanted to reconnect with her family. And so the SSA said, let's write a 1-page, and you can use this to introduce yourself back to the family that hasn't seen you for a while. Oh, starting wraparound for the first time. This will help the team. That's an awesome way. Individual moving to a new group home. Team retreat. Maybe everybody can complete to learn more. Lisa, I have seen people do this at team retreats. It is amazing. And you can, because you work together, people can write like and admire on each other's, so that, you know, you write what you like about your coworkers. I've often done it with just putting a piece of paper down on the table with they write their name, and people walk around and just write what they like and admire about each other. Awesome ideas. New providers. Yes. 18-year-old transitioning out of family home. Yes, this would be great for Carrie for the new house and provider. Letting new staff know about the person. Use it when meeting new cases assigned to me. Yes. New person is staying at a nursing facility. Yes, 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 yes. New respite. Transition plan. Yes, absolutely. Moving into a home with roommates. Oh, and he's nervous. Oh, absolutely, Colin. Here's who I am. And they don't have to feel like they're on the spot and have to talk. It's all written on paper. Wanting to return to day service, to meet new clients. Yes. Daughter's daycare, new daycare provider. Daycare, hospital for surgery. Yes, absolutely. Job search. Individuals on the job path. Yes. Yes, you can use that on yourself. A lot of SSAs have said, wait a minute, I'm asking people to share so much with me. I should be sharing a little bit about me. And remember, we have control over what we share. New nurse in the home. Nice, nice, nice. Nice. Oh, you guys, transferring 2 cases. Absolutely. Here's who you're going to be working with. Oh, becoming involved in advocacy groups. Oh my gosh, 94. Oh, God bless them. Helping an older person transition to assisted living. Please remember, you can use these in your own life with older family members, older parents, any family members. Volunteer in a program at church. Yes, 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 yes. Oh, you guys, I love it. Please, I want to hear your stories once you do this. Because we post stories, so please email me after you do it and tell me how it worked. So you know what? This is a great time for a break. So why don't we take a 5-minute break, and we'll see you in 5. Thank you, everybody. Oh my gosh, this is awesome. New therapists. Oh my gosh, I can't read this fast. This is awesome. New school. Very nice. Take a break, get up and move. And I love, somebody wrote, I'm going to write a 1-page and hand it out to people who interview me as a possible provider. And I thought, what a great way to introduce yourself, because what do we know about people and selecting providers? They want to feel comfortable and feel like the person cares about them. And I was talking to a young man yesterday who has an independent provider, and he said, it took me a while to find one because I wanted to work with somebody who was nice and liked me and I could get along with. So what a great idea to write your own and share it with people. So let's talk about a good life. You know, I hate cliches. I hate cliches like think outside the box, and because what does that mean? What's the box? And I hate we throw a lot of terms around. Person-centered is a cliche because nobody can define it. And people will tell me the person has to be in the center. And I'm like, that is not what person-centered means. The person has always been in the center. What person-centered means is that people have a life they value and that they are seen as a valued member of their community. So what's a good life? A good life is you have dreams. You have a vision for the life that you want, okay? I once heard someone say, without dreams, we don't have a life and all we get is what we're given. A good life is you have people who believe in you, that you have what's important to you, which is so critical for us to help people identify what's important to you, what helps you feel satisfied, content, happy, that people are respected, they have more good days than bad, they feel healthy and safe, and they have control. Not they, we all have control. So when I look at my brother, I think, did he have dreams? Well, yeah, he did. One of the dreams he had was to drive. And you see that top picture, but you had to ask Nick, what does driving mean? And it didn't mean that the car moved. It meant that he got in the car, was in the driver's seat. And look at his expression. When I turned 16, I got a driver's license. When Jim turned 16, he got a driver's license. When Nick turned 16, he did not get a driver's license. But he wanted to, quote, drive. But drive did not mean have the car move. So Jim and I took pictures of Nick in the driver's seat and had them developed. When you had to have pictures developed, showed them to my mother, and she just yelled at me. What's wrong with you? Why did you let your brother drive? I'm like, the car did not move, Mom. But look, he's got cool shades on. His smile is amazing. He wanted to go to Disney. He told his team he wanted to go to Disney. He didn't want to go with anybody else with a disability. And so you see that picture in the bottom right. When his provider said, we're person-centered, and they meant it. And they helped him go to Disney with caregivers who got, he had to pay for a lot of their expenses. A good life is you have what's important to you. Did my brother have what was important to him? Yes. Was he respected and valued? Yes. And when he wasn't, he spoke up. Like the time he was dismissed from jury duty because one of the attorneys said, we can't have him be on a jury. He drools. Look at him. And the judge made a comment and said, you don't talk like that in my courtroom. And my brother typed a note to the judge. You have more good days than bad. You feel healthy and safe, and you have control over decisions affecting your life. And Nick had control over decisions affecting his life, including making decisions at the end of his life. So I don't know how many of you have ever heard of Chris Nikic. I saw a ESPN special about him maybe 2 years ago, a year and a half. He is the first person with Down syndrome to compete in and complete the Ironman competition. At the time, I don't know what Chris is doing now, but he was in Florida. And you see what the Ironman competition is. But what I loved was he lived at the time, I don't know what he's doing now, he lived with his parents, and they had this huge whiteboard, huge, like a wall. And every day on the whiteboard, it was a calendar. He was written what he had to do to train that day for the Ironman. But on the bottom, there was a section that said, my dreams. And look on the left, his dreams: buy his own car, buy his own house, get a smoking hot blonde wife from Minnesota, have my own money to take care of my family, and to be a famous public speaker. I love that his family encouraged him to identify his dreams. This is the kind of stuff we want to hear when we ask people, what are your outcomes? Not the stuff we've taught them to tell us. I want to be independent. I want to have a job in the community. What kind of job? I don't know. we want people to have dreams. We want to find out, because if we're working with someone who wants to buy their own car, what are we telling them they got to do to buy their own car? They got to have money. They have to have a job. They have to save. Okay, we can figure out through the service system how to support people to move towards their outcomes. But we also have to help them identify outcomes or dreams. So outcomes and dreams, we don't want to hear system outcomes. You know, I want to be independent. That's just, we've taught them well. But what kind of life do they want? And these are themes. You see the arrow up towards what we want and the arrow down towards what we don't want. But we need to ask people, what does that mean? What does it mean to go on vacation? Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? What does it mean to have friends? You know, people tell me they have friends, and I ask them, oh, great. I asked this one young man yesterday, do you have a best friend? Yes. Do you get to see him? Do you do fun stuff together? I don't know where he is. We went to school together. The young man is in his late 20s. So he says he has a friend, but he has no way to connect with them. So we have to find out what people mean, not just take their words and go, oh, I'm going to write that down. But tell me more. What does that look like? So one of the ways that we can record what people tell us is on a trajectory. A trajectory is just a path. The solid arrow towards what you want, the dotted arrow towards what you don't want. It is just as important to ask people what they want as what they don't want. When I ask people with lived experience, what don't you want? The number one answer is drama. And I have to ask them, what does drama mean to you? And it means different things. I don't want people bossing me around. I don't want people in my face. I don't want, I don't want to be around loud people. I don't want to be around bossy people. I don't want to be around people who have drama all the time. That's what people tell me. Families, what I don't want my loved one to be taken advantage of, physically, sexually, emotionally, financially. Vision for what I want, when I ask people and give them, I explain the domains. I want a job doing something, whatever they want. I want my own place. I want a girlfriend. I want a boyfriend. I want money. I want to go on vacation. So what is your good life? Don't just say family and friends, but what would it look like? What would we see? And remember, a good life is you have what's important to you. You have a dream. You're respected and valued. You know, remember, most people leave their jobs not because of the money, but because they don't feel valued and respected. So what's a good life for you? Type it in chat. A good life for me is that I am retired and I consult and I have the ability to say, yes, I will do that, or no, I won't. So I have control. Better health. Good, Jose. More free time, serving others, having what your kids need, working in a field you love. I love that you said that. It's not just having a job, but having a job you love, right? Balancing work and family. Oh, Amanda, good luck with that. I think that's been mine every year. And it's like, yeah, okay. But you know what? The fact that we articulate it and put it down on paper reminds us when we have issues or we have moments of doubt, okay, I've got to remember I want to do this. Serving God, losing weight, exercise, making memories with my kids. Awesome. Taking trips. I love it. I love that you're being so detailed. I love it. Thank you. This is what we need to elicit from people we support. Making a difference. I love it in people's lives. I love it. Now, what do you want to avoid? Being intentional in my relationships. That's a positive. Drama, see? Good life is making sure my family's taken care of. What do I want to avoid? Toxic, drama, conflict, debt, burnout, negativity, feeling undervalued. Awesome. Negative situations. Absolutely. Being overcommitted. Yes. Unhealthy, debt, stress, overwhelmed. Thank you all. Thank you all. Now, see, that didn't take you long to think about. I gave you like 30-second lead time. When we talk with families, when we talk with people with lived experience, we may have to give them more information to help them think about what do they want, what don't they want. I love this quote from Judy Heumann. She was a disability rights advocate who passed away last year. And I don't know if you know about Judy Heumann. I believe she had spina bifida. And what I loved, she advocated for herself. She went to college to be a teacher and was told she could not teach because she used a wheelchair. Can you imagine? I mean, we've talked about people with disabilities have had rights since the Rehab Act of 1975, almost 50 years. And if we are honest, we know that those rights really do not all exist, and people do not experience all those rights. But her definition of independent living is not doing things by yourself. It's being in control of how things are done. And just remember that. We tell people you need to be independent, but no one is. But they should be in charge of how things are done, the way people support them, how to best support, which is also a section on the Ohio ISP. This is a trajectory for planning. It not only looks at what is the vision for what I want, but what is the vision of what I don't want? And excuse me. Oh, did you? Oh, Bibiana did a research paper on her. Oh, how cool. Not only what I don't want, but looking at, remember we said it's important to have experiences. You know, I knew that I never wanted to work in a restaurant because I'm a klutz. So what past experiences have people had that is helping them move towards what they want? Or have you had? What made you come into this field? Did you have a relative? Did you volunteer at school? Did you volunteer at a camp? And all of a sudden you're like, God, I never thought I would want to work with people with disabilities, but because of this experience, I want to do this. But also think about experiences in your past that might be taking to, there you go, family member. Thank you, Latoya. Did I say your name right? Or Latanya, sorry. I knew after I said it, I didn't say it right. But also, what experiences have you had in the past that maybe took you towards what you don't want? Maybe you got your first credit card and spent it, spent it to the max. And then all of a sudden you had debt. And now a good life is that you don't have debt. And what you want to avoid is having debt. And then in the middle, what do we need to do now? What's our next steps to continue moving towards the life you want? And what do we want to avoid in the future? So a lot of times families will fill out what they want, what they don't want, excuse me, and reflect on what have we done in the past that's worked? What have we done in the past that didn't work? And then they will go to the team meeting and say, here's what we want. Here's what we've done. How can you help us move forward? And they've done this with IEP teams and ISP teams. They come in with the vision, they come in with the history, and then they say, okay, how can you help us move towards the life we want? Ah, okay. So again, family experience. Oh, Crystal, that's funny. You had an opportunity and then you said, that's it. I'm there. Awesome. Thank you for sharing, Britt. Okay. ASL is a second language with a deaf professor that emphasized the importance of culture and inclusion. One of my first jobs as an SLP was working in the first total communication program when parents fought to have sign language used in public schools. And until 94-142, Ohio did not let deaf kids use sign language in school. So this is the planning trajectory. Again, a way to help families and people organize their thoughts and share it with the team. So here's another poll. I want you to think about the pandemic. And I know we're over the pandemic, but we are not over with COVID, because I have had several friends recently be diagnosed with COVID. What did you miss? And the reason I ask this is one experience that we all had. Our vision of a good life on March 1st, 2020, might be that we were going to go on vacation. We were going to attend graduations. We were maybe going to go to a family wedding. I was scheduled to do 16 in-person Charting the Life course presentations from March 10th to June 30th. None of them occurred. Okay. By March 10th, 12th, 15th, our vision of a good life changed immediately. So what did you miss of those 8 categories of important to? You missed people to be with, absolutely. Things to do, places to go. You missed your routines and rituals. Purpose and meaning, yeah, awesome. Culture and identity, yes, absolutely. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Awesome, you guys. So think about that. One event can impact our vision of a good life. A couple of you said you were going to work with people who were in rehab with the one page. One thing happened, it completely changed their outlook of what a good life is. So thank you for sharing, everybody. That's awesome. Let me check in. Oh my God, hair salons closed. Became a first. Oh, you did not, Lisa. You became a first-time mom on March 17th. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. You missed your people. You still could go to work, but couldn't go out. Absolutely. All of the above. Oh my gosh. Thank you, everybody, for sharing. Oh, you liked it because you got to be with your husband. Okay. And enjoy the kids. You moved cities. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I was doing a training a couple of weeks ago, and this one woman typed in chat, I was a high school senior, so missed out on everything. And another woman typed in chat, I was a high school senior too. And then they both typed in chat, we have good stories to share with our kids. So our perspective changed. Oh, you finished your oh. Oh, my goodness. Oh, nice support, Lanisa. Oh, that's so sweet. So it impacted all of us, and it's an experience we all had. That's why I like using the question. So if you think about your trajectory at the beginning of the pandemic and then how it changed. I was a caregiver. I was a full-time caregiver for a family member, unpaid. And so all of a sudden, my good life went from, I'm going to be doing in-person presentations. I'm going to go to a conference that I love going to. I'm going to travel. And all of a sudden, my vision was, don't get COVID. Don't bring COVID into the house. Don't expose my partner to COVID. My good life changed immediately. We rallied at FRNO. Our project manager got hired the week before shutdown, I think. And all of a sudden we were like, how are we going to meet the requirements of our grant? And we pivoted very quickly, learned Zoom, learned how to set up stuff. Our good life changed, our definition. I know I did not go out much. I did not interact with people. I saw one other family, and we were both so cautious about being safe and staying well because of our ages. And so that was my safe place. One other home. But think about your past experiences. Had you ever used Zoom before? I had joined Zoom. I didn't know how to set it up. I had worked at home for over a decade, so it didn't bother me. Actually, I was one of the first people at Cuyahoga County that got to work from home. So I was cool with working from home. It didn't bother me. I had plenty of toilet paper. I had Clorox wipes. Okay. I had used Amazon, so I was pretty good at that, but I had never ordered groceries. So, we all develop different skills. How do we do this? How do we do this in a different way? Lots of nice comments. Wow, that's nice. Nice, everybody. Nice comments to Lisa. And then what did you have to learn? I mean, I was saying the other day, remember when we used to wipe our groceries down with Clorox wipes? And we used to almost strip at the door and put our clothes in the washing machine immediately. I remember I wore 2 pairs of shoes during COVID because they were shoes I could easily wipe with Clorox wipes, and I didn't care if they got ruined. The things we did, what we learned, right? So a trajectory, I always encourage people to do the exploring trajectory. What do you want? What do you want to avoid? This is not something you do in a team meeting. Okay, you can have the conversation, but it's really something people need time to think about. And if you start it and write on it, give the copy to the person and the family. Sometimes I've had the person do their trajectory and the family do their trajectory for their loved one, because we value different perspectives. And I don't know why we think families should have consensus, because your family doesn't have consensus. So why do we think that families with people with disabilities should come to consensus? We look at multiple perspectives, and then we look at how can we work on people have a common outcome, and how do we clarify where there are differences? The trajectory can be used to review. Are we helping the person have the good life they want and stay away from what they want to avoid? If any of you are working with early intervention or early childhood, 0 to 6, helping that family identify their vision. We know they want them to walk and talk, but what is the vision? Do you want them to have friends? Do you want them to have a job when they're older? What do you see their life as a teenager or a young adult? The trajectory can be broad for a good life, or it could be very narrow. I've had families of, I worked with one mom who had a young child, 5 or 6, not more than 6, who had spent like 9 months of the previous year in the hospital. And she said, my only vision is healthy living, to keep him out of the hospital. That is my only focus, not the other 5 domains. And I said, that's fine. That's your focus. You don't have to have a vision in each of the domains. Excuse me. So here are some people who developed their own vision, almost like a vision board. They cut pictures out of the magazine, they wrote, they drew, whatever is meaningful to the person. Please know that we have, oh yeah, not wanting to bring COVID home. It was my biggest fear. I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. Oh, people develop their own vision boards. Please know that we've integrated the tools into Project Stir training. We're going to start working with kids in transition in the schools, and peer-to-peer training. So people with lived experiences, helping people with lived experiences work on their portfolio, their one page, their trajectory, and the integrated support star, which we'll get to in a minute. This was a group trajectory. We did this after Stark County Board of DD hosted a Project Stir training, 2.5 days. And at the end, we had people write one item per Post-it note, what they wanted, what they didn't want. And we put it on a 6-foot long trajectory. And when the superintendent came on the last day, because we like the host, whoever sponsors the training, to come, and we thank them for their support, I said, you need to go look at the trajectory and look at what people you support want in their life and don't want. And excuse me, he went over and he came back and he said, oh my gosh, this is so powerful. His next newsletter, he included some of the Post-its in the newsletter of what people want, what they don't want. If you're interested in Project Stir, you can look on the Ohio Self-Determination Association website. There's a training actually next week in Kent, in Portage County. So I will be there because we've included Charting the Life course in Project Stir training for 5 years, 2019. And we just revised and updated some of the materials. So next week is the first time the updated materials are going to be used. And I wrote them, and I want to go see if they work and how they work. We've reviewed them, but we want to see in action. So, so excuse me, when we're talking and asking people, what's your good life? We typically ask them to think about these 6 interconnected life domains. When you meet somebody, typically the first question we ask is, what do you do, right? What do you do? I had you introduce yourselves to each other. What do you do? Where do you live? And these are aspects of our life that define our quality of life, which is why you see that these are aspects of a good quality of life, not skills. Okay? Nobody says they have a good life because they brush their teeth or they write their name. They say, I have a good life because I like my job. I like where I live. I feel safe. A lot of you said an outcome for you is healthy living, losing weight, feeling better, maybe living in a safe neighborhood, safe place. Oh my God. Oh, wow. Oh my gosh, Dina, are you kidding me? Worrying about getting insured because of the shortage. Oh my goodness. A good life is that a lot of you talked about. A good life is that I have time to talk to God, that I feel I'm fulfilling God's purpose, that I have friends, that I'm able to support others to be their best, healthy living, that I feel better. Maybe, oh, healthy living. Important for, important two. I have had people say to me, I don't want to take as many medications. Is that important too or important for? It's important too because the person said it. It might also be important for because maybe the doctor or the therapist has said, we need to get you off some of these meds. You're on a lot of medications. So remember, important to is what the person tells us. Important for is what others say. And something can be important to as well as important for. Think about safety and security. Any of you that saw the eclipse yesterday, how many times did we hear about how to be safe during the eclipse? How many of you watched the eclipse with children? I was actually with family, and there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 children, 2 under 6. And I don't know how many times those parents said, put those glasses on, put those glasses on. Actually, every adult was saying, put those glasses on or put your head down, don't look. But we were saying it to each other too. Put your glasses on. It's not totality yet. So safety and security means many different things. Okay. Is somebody going to write something in chat for me? Yeah. Don't look without your glasses. Oh yeah. Uh-oh. Bibiana, you did not follow the directions. Your kids did better than you. I love it. I love it. But safety and security is more than having no risk, but it's knowing what to do to be safe. So in certain parts of Ohio, I live in Northeast Ohio. I don't have to worry about flooding, but I do have to worry about power outages and tornadoes. Not a lot, but we've had a couple, so who knows? And those of you that are family members, think about how are you supporting people to have control over decisions. I did not become my brother's guardian because he did not need a guardian because we talked over things. And as a speech pathologist, I would say he understands the information. So how are you supporting your loved one to make decisions, even as young children, so they learn, uh-oh, I chose this to eat, not this. And oh, well, I don't get to have the other one. Or I chose to spend my allowance in one shopping trip, so I have no money for another week. You know, we have to help people take risks and learn from those risks. If any of you have had a child learn how to drive, oh my gosh, wasn't that fun when they started driving by themselves? How many of you said, text me when you get there, call me when you're there, let me know when you're leaving? And then advocacy and engagement, having valued roles, learning to speak up for yourself. Yeah, that's the worst part. Yep. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, and it is glitching a lot. Uh-oh. Oh, your soul left. Oh, Crystal, what a profound way to put it. My soul left my body when she began learning to drive. Woo! Whoa. So think about those domains. When I work with people with lived experience, I actually go through the domains and give them examples. And I tell them it's okay to want things to be the way they are. Having a vision does not mean it has to be different. Okay? Oh, Amanda. Oh, Amanda. Oh my God, your twins are going to drive. Oh my gosh. Oh my, Amanda, I think I first met you when they were little kids. Okay, that's okay. I'm getting old. But I tell them you don't have to have something change. So your vision can be that something stays the same or that it changes. You know, maybe you want to try something different. And if you look at this vision tool, this is great to give people so they can think about their vision. In the first column are the 6 domains in icon form. And then there's 2 sections, supports for family. So what might the family need, and integrated supports. The second column are the words, the title of the domain and a little bit of a definition. The third column is white space. So people have written, people have drawn. And the fourth column is priority. And I don't worry about priority unless people say, I don't want to think about this now. I want to focus on this. Because people can get very anxious. Like, what do you mean I have to prioritize? No, you don't have to. Let's just talk about it and think about what you want. So this helps people. The family can fill this out. The person can fill it out from their perspective. By asking people their vision, first of all, it gives everybody the opportunity to be heard. The parents, the siblings, the person. It helps identify common areas. Okay, everybody has the same vision for what you do during the day. You have a job you like. We'll start working on that. Okay, not everybody agrees that they feel comfortable with you living in your own place. We'll have to work on that and find out why there's differences and see what we can do. If you're an SSA, I think this booklet is amazing because it really gives you questions to use to have a conversation with people. In Charting the Life course, we talk about anticipatory guidance. And so if you're working with somebody who's 14 to 22, they're in transition, but they're going to be adults. So we need to start looking at adult. If you're working with kids that are in early childhood, they're going to be going into school age pretty soon. And we want to make sure we've talked about what's needed and what we need to think about in school age. But we also need to look at the previous life stage. Did we consider all of these things? So let's look at that booklet. Inside the booklet, for each of the 6 domains, which you all see on the ISP, on the assessment and the ISP, there is a 2-page spread from prenatal to aging. And so in early childhood, for daily life and employment, are they going to preschool? Do you have a vision of their future? What you would like to see in their future? And when I was still working for the county board, I met with families leaving early childhood and asked them, what is your vision? Because we wanted to know, how do we prepare you? How do we allocate resources? And I would ask them, what do you see for your child as a young adult? Think about beyond school. And they would tell me things like, I want them to find something they love to do. I want them to have friends. I want people to call them up and ask them if they want to go out, not just their family, not just their siblings, but I want them to have friends. I would love for them to find their passion. And by that, I said to the mom, what does that mean? And she goes, I want her to find something she loves to do. I don't care what it is. I just want her to have a passion. I want them to be loved by people other than their parents and grandparents. And if you have that vision of they want them to have friends, they want them to find something they love to do, that should tell us as staff that we should be working on How do we help them develop friendships? How do we help them maintain friendships? How do we help them stay safe in those friendships? How do we help them find a passion? And I am going to double check. Oh, the Blue Book. Okay. The Blue Book is free. You can download it. We also gave it to you as a handout. So it gives you questions to have those conversations with people. As you support people through the different life stages, we also have a resource called the Quick Guides. Sometimes we call them the 4-pagers. And on the slides, I know that Erica is giving you links, but on the slides, if you're thinking about this after you get off this call, I'm also telling you where you can find them. On lifecoursetools.com, under Life Course Library, and then go to Exploring Life Stages. There is a quick guide for every life stage from early childhood, school age, transition to adulthood, adulthood, and aging. And let me take you through the quick guide. On page 1, it will tell you the life stage. So I'm using adulthood as the example. Again, all of these are located on lifecoursetools.com under library, under exploring life stages. On the adulthood, on the first page, you see the icon for adulthood and a definition. What does adulthood mean? It's the time from when you leave school to you enter your golden years. Oh, I got to start using that. I am in my golden years. Okay, I like that. On page 2, there are questions and probes for 3 of the life domains. So there's the icon, the heading, the definition, daily life and employment, what a person does as part of everyday life. And then there are some considerations. So under community living, what kind of living options do I know about or do I want to try? Because I'll ask people, do you want to live in the country? Do you want to live in the city? Do you want to live on a bus route? Do you want to live in an apartment? Do you want to have a roommate or a housemate? Do you want to live with other people? So talking to them about the options, and a lot of people will say, I want to continue living with mom and dad. And I'm like, put it down. And you know what? In 2, 3, 5 years, that may not be their vision. But right now, their vision is to continue what's happening right now. And that's okay. Because I'm not trying to cause trauma when I ask people, where do you want to live or what do you want to do? So please, I know on your ISP or on the assessment, I'm not sure which one, it has the domain, it has important 2, important 4, how to support, and outcome. You may not get one for every domain. And that's okay, because you may not have a vision in every domain. Oh, I see. Okay. On page 3 are the other 3 of the 6 life domains. So healthy living. Do they need help with their medications? Do they know about their medications? Do they know how to interact with healthcare professionals? Do they know who they want to talk to about it? You know, do they want their parent to go, their sibling? And advocacy and engagement. What support do they need with their team? And please, I also want to say this. Remember, the ISP team meeting is not mandatory. So don't tell me you're empowering people to be in charge by having them run their meeting. They should not be running their meeting. They should be running the content. And there's a difference. There are different skills for running a meeting to driving the content of the meeting. So if you want to empower people by their meeting, then what we should be doing is helping them identify the content to share and how to share it. What is their vision? What do they want? What don't they want? And then page 4 of the quick guides has 2 sections, services and supports, and you see the integrated support star. So this is helping people think about where can I get help, not just from the system, the public system, but all 5 areas. And I'll go through those in just a minute. But also, what might the family need? You know, do they know what the choices are? I've had families tell me they will never be able to live in their own apartment because they don't know how to cook, they can't clean. And I'm like, do they have a waiver? Yes. Why do they have a waiver? Because they need help to get through their day. And that help will be available if they move into their own place. However, don't stop teaching them skills. Yeah, I like that, Dylan. Setting the outline a few weeks in advance so they know what's coming up. Absolutely. Very nice. Very nice. Great way to empower. Another way to empower is to send this 4-pager, this quick guide, to the person and the family so they know what the domains are, what they mean, and what they should be thinking about. So again, they're free, they're downloadable for all of the life stages from early childhood through aging. So what we want to see, our trajectory for people and families using the trajectory is what we want to see is that people and families have time to gather their thoughts of what is a good vision, that staff can start the conversation and record it on the trajectory and give the paper to the person in the family, that you use the information to develop the plan, and that we may get a trajectory from multiple sources. I was working with one family, and as I was asking, I asked the son, who was in his early 20s, you know, what his vision was, and he shared it. I asked mom and dad what their vision was separately. I asked the young man separate from his parents. And then I asked the parents to develop their trajectory and had a conversation. During the conversation, they could not agree. And I thought, I am not a licensed family counselor. And so I said to them, each of you take a separate piece of paper and write your vision, and then let's talk about it. Now, when they looked at it, they realized they had more in common than they thought they did. But I had to separate them and have them do it individually and then compare, just like having the young man compare to his parents' vision so they could see, what do we need to work on? Maybe what do we need to have more conversation about because we're not comfortable. The trajectory should never be done in a team meeting. Just like you would not be sitting with a whole bunch of people that help you to develop your trajectory of your life. So poll 7 is about the trajectory, and select all that apply. And the correct answer is all of them. It is not developed by a team. It does help the person in the family identify their good life and what they want to avoid. It helps organize information about the impact of the experiences and opportunities that they've had and considering what needs to happen, and it helps guide planning. So thank you. Thank you, everybody, for your responses. Okay, so we've talked about who is this human being? How can they introduce themselves? How can we help them with their self-esteem by talking about who they are as a human being with the one page? How can they share a quick summary of who they are? The one page. We talked about having a vision of your life. Why? Because that's mandated in all plans. IFSP, Individualized Family Service Plan, IEP, Individual Education Program, and OISP, the Ohio Individual Service Plan. So now that we have an outcome, how do we work towards it? Well, we can use the integrated support star. So you see there's a white star in the middle. Once somebody has an outcome, I want a job working with animals, you put that in the middle, and now the team can brainstorm possible supports. I always tell people start with personal strengths and assets because then we're being strengths-based. What do you bring? So if someone wants to work with animals, have they had a pet? Have they had to take care of a pet? Have they walked the neighbor's dog, or have they pet sat for a family or a friend? End with eligibility. So we don't immediately go to what can the system do? On the left, the pink section, what technology may help somebody who wants to work with animals? Well, have they watched any YouTube videos? Are there any apps that they can look at or use? Do they have a smartphone? Do they have a tablet to use? Because don't ever minimize the power of YouTube. Relationship-based. These are unpaid people. Do they know anybody with a pet that maybe they can start learning how to take care of a pet? Do they know anybody who works at a pet store? Do they know anybody who volunteers at their local ASPCA or shelter? Community-based, the bottom left. What places, if people want to work with animals, what places can people go to learn or to have some experiences? So can they volunteer at a pet shelter? Can they go to the pet store and play with the animals? I remember going to a pet store with my niece, and they had dogs in an enclosed area, and people could go in there and sit and play with the dogs. And then eligibility specific. Are they eligible for support from Ohio, opportunities for Ohioans with disabilities? Can their provider help them? Do they have a job coach? So looking at what are the possibilities. In Medicaid, they use the term natural supports. And that refers to help you get from friends and family or the community for free. But please look at the second bullet. I hate the term natural supports because we don't talk about natural supports in our own lives. We talk about people who help us, friends, family. And we've gotten to the point with Medicaid and natural supports that when families hear natural supports, they're like, oh my gosh, you're not going to help me because you expect me to do this. But look at that bullet from Disability Rights Ohio. Medicaid agencies, which are the county boards, often assume that family or people who live with them will provide support. Federal law says that natural supports must be provided to someone voluntarily, and the person agrees that I want to get help from them. So just keep that in mind when you start throwing around the term natural supports. And I know it's a section on the ISP. So here's one template for the supports, integrated supports. It's called a split star because each of those 5 areas, 5 support areas, is divided into current. What are the current supports that someone has? And what might be useful in the future? So what do we need to develop? Using the star, like I said, it's great to use it in a team meeting. Let's brainstorm. What's out there? What can help people? Also, agencies have used the star to map resources. What's available for families? What's available for people? I've seen early intervention do this. They've mapped resources in the 5 areas. I've seen transition coordinators, when they have a transition fair, will map the vendors in the 5 areas. So charting the life course would be under personal strengths and assets because we're helping people develop skills. Again, here are the 5 areas. The model on the left, the circles, we want people to be supported in the context of their family, in their community, 100% of the time. This is also in line with Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services settings rule that we need to promote full access to community life, and we need to promote lives that people want to live. So community resources, just a reminder, are resources that are available to everyone. They don't have to be eligible. So whereas eligibility specific are things that you have to be eligible for. As employees, think about what you are eligible for. You are eligible for health insurance. You are eligible for retirement, whether it's STRS or PERS. You are eligible to contribute to Ohio Deferred Comp. You probably have IT support for your laptop or tablet. So all of us receive eligibility specific supports. So let's go through each area. I'll use my brother, Nick. He wanted to go to Disney. Number 1 personal strength for Nick was that he articulated his outcome. I want to go to Disney without anybody else with a disability. His assets, he knew how to save. He knew he would have to save, and he knew he would have to find somebody to take care of him, to provide that personal care. For relationships, of course, we supported him, Jim, my brother Jim, my mother, and I. But as Nick started telling people, I want to go to Disney, other families said, well, wait a minute, we usually buy Nick a Christmas present, a birthday present. What does he need for his trip? Because we'll buy him what he needs for his trip. Friends heard he wants to go to Disney, so they started saying, hey, I went last year, what do you want to know? Or I'm going this year, what do you want me to find out? And people were saying, wait a minute, I have a friend who's going in a week. What do you want to know? Acquaintances, friend of a friend, I will tell them. When you think about relationships, think about people with ICE on the left side of the screen, people with information, people with connections, who knows somebody, and people with experience. The people we list in relationships are paid. So not your SSA, not your SSA, your provider. These are unpaid. Technology. What technology could help Nick plan his trip? Well, he had his own laptop, so he could use that. He could search. But he also used a power chair. He had a CPAP machine. He had a laptop. And we had to sit and think about what technology has to go with him and what technology did he want to leave home. And he did not want to take his laptop because he was afraid it would get stolen or ruined or broken or whatever. But we had to worry about that power chair. How do you get a power chair on the airplane? Oh, don't even ask me. That is a whole session in and of itself. Barbara got to talk to the manager of the Orlando airport, Cleveland Hopkins. Not a good picture. Community resources. What could help him plan his trip? Well, a travel agent. He could go to the library and get information. Maybe, sometimes the adult education has, how to plan your trip to Disney or whatever. And then eligibility specific. Could he get a discount because he had a disability? What benefits could he get at Disney? Could he go to the front of the line? Blah, 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 blah. But he also had to get a caregiver, and he had to pay for that caregiver to go with him. We sent you this chart. If you're thinking, God, that's so much to think about. Yes, it is. Here's a chart of integrated support options. On the left are the domains. Across the top are the 5 areas of the integrated support star. It's 2 pages. And it just gives you things to think about. What can help? And don't just say a laptop, but what apps, what programs? Think about how they would use it. So we're going to put you in breakout rooms for 8 minutes, and you can pick a goal that you've heard, or I will share my screen into the breakout rooms. If you could put 8 people in a breakout room, Erica, if not, do whatever you can do. I don't want you to discuss eligibility. I want you to start with personal strengths and brainstorm what are the possible supports. And like I said, I will share this screen so you have the goals, writing a book about my story, teaching people about disability, driving, being a photographer, or you can pick a goal of somebody you're working with or an outcome. So go ahead. We'll see you in 8 minutes.
Yeah, how would go about that phone?
All right, the rooms are open, so please accept your invite, please. Thank you.
And I'll set the thing for 8 minutes. Whoops. And I will share to breakouts. Okay, there we go. The 22 of you that are still left here, you can have your own breakout room right here. Up 19, or go, accept your invitation, go to the breakouts. Those of you that are left, you can unmute and chat as a large group here. And I'm going to mute myself. Or maybe I'm not. So those of you that are still here,